for a black man to strike anybody white
Yes.
was completely. I think that may have been the first time on film,
Yes.
on a major film that ever
You
happened.
probably saw a black man doing anything, right? That
Yeah.
telling people what to do, being in
Yes.
charge.
Yes.
That people did not see that stuff, and they didn't. That was not something they saw. What up, fiends? Welcome to the Scary Movie Project, the podcast where we talk about scary movies, I guess. I am your host, Matt, and you guys love us so much. You came back because this is part 2. Thank you for coming back for part 2 of Black Horror. Our friend Bill is with us again, of course. And we all hope you loved part 1, which, of course, we talked about African horror folklore, which is awesome. And I know you guys are salivating and you've been waiting all this time. So finally, now we talk scary movies. We talk black horror. I'm not even going to waste any time. I'm going right into it. Bill, kick it off. What are we doing? Where are we starting with black horror? I'm in.
Let's go into it, man. Like, let's go to early film, right?
All right, let's
go.
So
the first presence, and I'm going to consider this a horror movie, of black folks, and they really weren't black folks, Birth of a Nation.
Oh, wow. Wasn't that also in Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah.
Is that the film that? Yes. Oh my God, I love that movie. And that was the was it a phony film they showed? I mean, this is something different, obviously.
But no, Birth of a Nation essentially was like the birth of the Klan. You know, it was like
yes.
What did Woodrow Wilson call it? It was
he screened it. He screened it at the White House, right?
Come on, man.
Are you serious?
So the black people with the creatures with
I don't even know what to say about that.
It's America. That's how it was, man.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good answer. It's America.
As they say, it's America.
Holy crap! And that was not that long ago.
No, it's not. It's barely 100 years.
Yeah, it's barely 100. Yes, it's really exactly.
It's within a generation of people you may have just seen pass. You know what I'm saying? So
yes,
it amazes me because people. It was like one of the biggest blockbuster films, like the first big blockbuster.
Of course, it was.
Now, and Grant, I will say this, and this is just from a technical perspective. It was great technically in terms of how the movie was put together during that time.
There's plenty of movies that are done really well that suck.
Otherwise, it's garbage, straight garbage. Because, of course, the enemy.
It's nothing but propaganda. Of course,
it is. It's like United States went through a period of being so, I guess apologetic to the Confederate losses. It's like, come on, man.
I can't.
That being said, the enemy was, of course, the monster were the black people, and then those weren't even played by black people.
Nope.
They were all white people in makeup. So I consider that the first horror movie in my particular book.
That might still be a pretty terrifying horror movie, to be honest. So,
Exactly.
I don't want to see it.
The first, black created and starred. It was an all-black cast, directed by a black person. A movie called Son of Ingagi.
I've heard of this. It's supposed to be like some feral child movie or some. I don't know much about this.
It's a bit. I mean, it's okay. So let me just go back. So Spencer
it's very inappropriate, isn't it? Right?
Yeah. The first one, they had Ingagi at one point.
Yes, I've heard of that.
The original,
as well, yeah.
It was about like African women having affairs with gorillas or something.
Right.
So this came afterwards.
Oh my God.
Son of Ingagi, which, I have certain feelings about, them making it. So Spencer Williams, if you know who Spencer Williams is, he was part of Amos and Andy.
Okay, yeah.
That crew. So, it was financed, by another company. He partly financed it and distributed through Race Movies. Yeah, Race Records and Race Films. So, and that was, strictly for race films and race, music.
Oh my goodness.
So so they consider like a stuffy, all black, film featuring. It features a newlywed couple, Bob and Eleanor. Besides being corny, sleeping in separate beds. I'm reading some of this too as I go to get through it. What does he say? They befriend a lonely scientist, Helen Jackson, as scientists tend to do in the 1940s, shows an 8-man beast type named Ingina.
Okay.
and her basement, or Ingina, I don't know. It sounds too much like vagina. In her basement, presumably from the last trip to Africa. It was never really explained. As eight beasts tend to do in the 1940s, the beast gets up and kills the scientists in a fit of rage. So
Wow.
the happy couple then inherits the house and moves in. Hijinks commence. Spencer Williams Lane is Andy Fame, as I said.
Yeah.
It's featured as a cop investigating Jackson's death. But his attempts at humor fall flat because it's kind of a weird subject. It is what it is.
It's an uncomfortable movie.
You would think he would write himself a funnier part or try to kind of capture the story and turn it around in a way that is not as cringeworthy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it avoids a lot of the cringy stereotypes that you normally get during those times for black folks in movies.
Yeah.
But it's a dry story. 60-minute running time.
Really?
So
wow, okay.
A lot of people forgot about the movie. But the original, the Ingagi, was a 1931 film.
Okay.
And it portrayed real African jungle women cavorting with gorillas.
I don't want to see that.
I have no desire at all to see anything like that.
No, I'm good. I'm good on that.
All right, so now that leads us into a weird space.
All right.
In the 50s, so Son of Ingagi came out in the 40s.
Okay,
in the 50s, there were no black people in horror movies.
Okay, interesting.
None at all. Yeah. There was a lot of science fiction during the time. From the Black Lagoon, Haunted UFOs, house. And that type of thing. So,
right.
There was no place. In those movies, there were black people in those movies, and if there were some, they were typically like comedies, and required a lot of buffoonery. Kind of exploitive kind of looks. And,
that's how they portrayed, right?
And it was typically comedies. If you did have a black person horror movie back then, they were typically comedies. And it would always be the black person getting scared to death.
Of course.
And running out. So, yeah. So the 50s were just empty. Then came the 60s. Now, granted, in the 60s, there were a lot of independent films, some which we would never ever know because they may be buried somewhere in somebody's basement or something.
Long gone, man. Yeah. Long gone.
So, because a lot of people had the cheaper cameras, you can make your own cheap little films and things like that.
16 millimeter, yeah.
But in 1968, in comes one of your favorite movies, not created by a black person, but had a black lead, which was Night of the Living Dead. It was at 1968-ish, 67, 68. I forgot what year it came out. Somewhere around there.
68.
What made this film unique for me, and I guess a lot of people saw it, which was unheard of, you had a black lead who took command of the situation.
Duane Jones.
I think he passed away a couple years ago or something.
I don't know when he died.
Yeah,
what was the character? Ben, right? Was it the character's name? He was Ben. Yeah. Duane Jones. From all I know from George Romero saying over it again is it didn't matter. The guy could have been green, pink, orange. He didn't give a damn who about it. It was just he was the right guy to do it. It just so happened we lived in a very uncomfortable place in that time when that was just weird for people to see a black guy as right. So George Romero said there's no rhyme or reason to it. So
and granted, during this time, of course, there were a lot of sensitivities.
Exactly.
Across the board, and it was what really struck me when I saw it, and I figured when I saw the year of it, and this was years ago, for a black man to strike anybody white.
Yes.
Was completely, I think that may have been the first time on film, on a major film that ever happened.
You probably saw a black man doing anything. Right. Telling people what to do, being in charge. Yes. That people did not see that stuff, and that was not something they saw.
Again, previous years you would have the buffoonery. You have to, oh my God, there's a ghost.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's
nonsense.
It's never shown in a hero role.
Nope.
So that's why this movie resonated with me because to me it changed the game.
What happens, in the end of it is so crappy because
please explain that.
All these zombies that have killed these people, this guy runs the show. He survives. He gets everyone through most everybody through the night.
Yeah.
And then what happens? But he's, looking through the window or whatever and gets shot. And you're like, what the hell happened? And then some fat redneck police officer, told his guys to shoot him. They didn't know any better. Whatever.
Yeah.
And, why, go ahead and throw him on the fire.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's like that part, that makes you wonder if Romero's telling the truth, because if he didn't have a black guy in the role, he wouldn't have had that stupendous ending. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, that was a great way, because, okay, we talked about Romero likes to, every movie's about something else, right? It's about something, but it's about something else. The zombies are about fear of disease and the neighbors and whatever. But then, by the way, we're also going to sneak in this kind of race piece. We're going to throw this in here. Yeah. And it was perfect. So, like, I'm sad the character died that way, but it was just like, it was perfect. Yeah. I know.
I mean, it's amazing, because think it from his perspective. It's like, I survived the entire night with crazy people, crazy zombies trying to get in.
Yep.
Finally got things cleared out, and help is coming. And the one thing that kills me is another person.
Dumbass white guy. So, yeah.
So that was. I know.
That
resonated.
But that's, I think, the part that does resonate with everyone. It's not even really the zombie so much. It is that ending. Yeah. It is. Yeah. It really is.
I mean, it's almost to me telling of kind of like the direction that The Walking Dead went into. The zombies weren't the enemies anymore. It was like the other people, survivors were the enemies at that point.
That's how, I love zombie and end of apocalypse movies in general, and that is what it's not the fear of where's my food or will I be able to lose my family. It's the crazy mother effer that's gonna try to shoot me while I'm walking down the street with my bags. Yeah, that's the problem. So you have to wonder if they cast a white guy in that movie, is that the same ending? I don't know. I don't want to go too deep into it. I don't think it would have the same impact
at all.
No,
I think the impact would be,
You know what? It's like in Cabin Fever. Remember at the end when that one dumbass, the blonde guy, makes it through and he gets blasted like 1,000 times and they throw him on the fire? Kind of like that. But instead we just laugh at it because we don't care about him. We don't care. We don't give a crap.
How about that, man? So
it's powerful. It's good. It's a great movie,
coming in 1968.
Yeah.
With that character and with the ending line.
Yeah.
And y'all can, if you all have any comments about it, please share it. I mean, I'm open for dialogue on this, because I think it's just, to me, that was one of the most, important horror movies that also, brought in that social message.
It's huge. And you know what? And that's a brave move by a filmmaker to do that.
Exactly. For your first big film.
That really is. Film, because you may be right in what you do, and I think I'm glad he did it, but people are crazy, and the things they say to you and the things they write about you, and it's a whole nother deal. So
how about that? Yeah. So we go from 1968 and we go into the 70s.
Oh boy.
So the 70s was full of so you had a genre of movies called Blaxploitation.
Yes.
And Blaxploitation films.
Blaxploitation.
They were, like slices of what Black life is or was, and it was funded very poorly. It was almost like write-offs to most film companies. A lot were done independently, like Dolomite, financed a lot of his. He hustled to make money to get, money to make his movies. But you get B-stock footage, the worst B-stock footage. You get leftover film.
Yeah.
You get very little room for mistakes. So you only had one or two takes, and then editing was like done in a flash.
Dude, I just watched Blacula again for last week. It's probably the third or fourth time I've seen it. I like it. I really like that movie.
To me, it's one of my favorite movies.
I mean, is it good? Is it awful? No.
I mean, it's so. I mean, before you go forward, what makes this movie, where it helps and fails the movie at the same time, is that you have William Marshall.
Yeah.
Thespian actor, incredible actor.
He's so commanding, and he talks like this in the movie. Yeah.
And it's like you got this film that's so low budget,
I know.
And to me, it's juxtaposed. It's just a weird juxtaposition of greatness
He wanted to
and
do it.
and janky. But I mean,
Yeah.
and I get why he wanted. I see why he probably wanted to do it. But
All right.
but
No, I
good.
know. He's great. He is great. No, the vampires, they're awful. They have just this green makeup on their face, and it's like, are you serious with this? And like
the
you said,
were horrible.
Oh man, and the editing, boy, I like I said, I watched about a week ago, and there are some cuts that are just, oh wow,
Horrendous.
What happened? How did you not see that? But again, 1973, I guess, whatever it is. But
I mean,
overall, I mean, it's funny. And when he goes to the club, I love when what does he order? He orders a Bloody Mary.
Yes,
yes, of course he does.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my god! But I love the guy who's the doctor or whatever, the one who's like trying to save. I love that guy. He's like the hero, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But then at the end, when he goes out, he walks up to the top of the building and he goes into the sun and he melts in the sun finally. And I mean, it's a good movie. I like it.
And that whole effect sequence was horrible.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. But overall, it's entertaining, and I'll definitely I've probably seen it 3 or 4 times already.
It was definitely significant because it opened a few doors. And again, a lot of the acting was great, but it's because you don't have as many takes. You can't choose the best take. You kind of stuck with the thing.
The one guy who comes in the club with him and sits down. That guy, he's like, "Yo, man, I don't know who that dude is. That dude is weird, man."
Dude, the stereotypes in the very beginning with the two gay guys buying stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. It was
the thing that I always think about with that movie is there is a Simpsons episode where Homer is at home one day. He's never working. He's never working, of course. And he's watching the Wednesday afternoon movie, and it's Blacula versus Black Dracula. And every time I think of Blacula, I think of that scene from The Simpsons.
Now, one thing that becomes tradition in a lot of black horror films afterwards is they bring a piece of Africa within the movie.
Mm-hmm.
For Mabawande, Blacula, he came from Africa and he was trying to get help. I think it was like either trying to get help to fight slavery or something like that. The trade. And then it was Dracula that got him.
The opening scene is Dracula. I shall call you Blacula. Yeah, so it's. But I mean, whatever you do.
So there's always some kind of there's always connection to Africanisms in some of these movies somehow, some way. There were a lot of other movies that I found entertaining during that time. You had Scream, Blacula Scream, which came.
I never saw the sequel. Yeah, I never saw that.
Oh man, Sugar Hill.
Yes. Okay.
Which like about voodoo and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Ganja and Hess.
Ganja and Hess is a movie that I've had on my list for probably 10 years, and I am so pissed I still haven't seen it. It's supposed to be great, right?
Yeah, and thing is, Spike Lee did a version called The Sweet Blood of Jesus or something like that.
I think okay.
Real independent kind of release. I don't think it was in the theaters at all. But kind of follows the same storyline. He was stabbed by an African knife, a blade or something, an ancient African blade.
Yeah.
And it gives him that thirst for blood and stuff. So so those movies, again, they follow the same kind of themes in terms of, reaching back against Sugar Hill with the voodoo, things like that, a lot of Africanisms, but they all had the same low budgets.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you barely have enough money. If you look at a film and look how many people involved in making a good film, you start to realize how that little bit of a budget will disappear so quickly. Yeah. So I'd be curious to see how those movies would have done with a bigger budget, because Blacula, Blacula Scream, one of those were actually one of the top horror movies for the year.
What do you think? Would you like to see a remake of that with like a real budget?
I would. I'd be curious to see.
I'd watch it.
Yeah, I would definitely watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely, like I said, the original wasn't a lot of money. It wasn't like it was, something that kind of sat on the shelf. No, this one filled the theaters.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
which is interesting.
I would have gone to see it if it was. Well, I wasn't around then.
Why not? So the 70s, I definitely say do some more research. There's a lot of small independent, black horror films.
This is definitely not black horror. Well, it's not. But I mean, remember, talking about like Duane Jones, Dawn of the Dead, Ken Foree He's one of the main characters in Dawn of the Dead, right?
Yep.
So it's another different, genre, but whatever.
Yeah. But that kind of swings us into the 80s now. Good segue into the 80s. So Blaxploitation films began to disappear because the market wasn't there anymore. And also, like, NAACP and, they started protesting and boycotting some of these films because a lot of them were exploitive.
They weren't great. So.
Yeah. So, so we start so you start seeing a shrinking amount of black characters now in movies. And the roles, first of all, they rarely survive in the end.
Yeah.
Typically the sacrificial lambs or their background characters,
like
or what I call the magical Negro. The magical Negro always shows up where, somehow they got the magic to solve everything or the sage words.
What's the horror movie? Is it Scary Movie, the spoof where the guy comes on, the dude, and he's a black guy, and he says, I'm the black guy in the movie. I'm just supposed to say things like bling bling, and that is whack.
Exactly. So you look at it where like The Shining, prime example. Yeah, the magical Negro in that one.
Dick Halloran. He tries to save the day, and then he gets an axe in his chest. Yeah, it doesn't go well.
But in the book, he didn't die though.
It's a totally different deal.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at other movies, Jeepers Creepers, when you had Jeepers Creepers probably more in the 90s, but you had the black woman.
End of 2000 something, but yeah.
But I mean, that's another example of like the sage magical Negro. Somehow they save these two little white kids or sacrifice themselves.
Right.
The roles were limited.
Yeah. I know.
I can't think of the 80s significance for black horror. We go back to that dip again.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of that too, and there just isn't a lot of it. No,
not at all.
No.
But in the 90s, there was a huge black film renaissance.
Lots.
Spike Lee kind of started it off. Really was not just started off. He was one of the people that kind of got that foundation going for black films, where She's Gotta Have It and things like that. We took a low budget and made a lot of money off the low budget and kind of kept growing from there. So, then also during this time, there was a lot of social consciousness. There was a lot of, self-improvement within the black community, especially coming out of the 70s when you're looking at all these characters from the 70s movies, and then you disappear in the 80s. And you also had crack and everything else going on, which held across everybody.
I've seen that Death by Temptation. Was that an 80s or 90s?
That was actually into the Death by Temptation in the 90s, but that kind of flows. That's in the 90s. Yeah, that's in the 90s. So, yeah, I'm sorry. We're in the 90s right now. Yeah, Death by Temptation. Now, what's funny about that movie is that a lot of the Spike Lee team, they were on that movie. Like Ernie Dickerson. Yeah, he was part of that movie. Bill the Great. Incredible Bill Nunn, may he rest in peace. He was in that movie. What's the name? The lead character. What's the guy's name?
One of the guys' names is James Bond.
James Bond, yeah.
Yeah.
He was
James Bond.
Yeah. He was one of those guys. Kadeem Hardison.
Yes, that's right. Kadeem Hardison is in that. That's right. Yes.
I
love the scene the scene is great though, where he gets pulled in the TV. That part is pretty cool. I like that.
Dude, it was kind of cool. So now, granted, it wasn't the
best movie.
It wasn't the best movie because again, it was on a low budget.
Yeah.
It was filmed. I think. Matter of fact, the house that they were in was, I think, Lawrence Fishburne's house.
Larry Fishburne.
Yeah. Larry Lawrence, whatever he wants to call himself nowadays.
I think early on he was Larry Fishburne. Yeah.
Yeah, he was Larry Fishburne back then. Child actor who made a lot of money. So they filmed it in his house.
20 years old in Apocalypse Now or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, right? No, he was like 16 in Apocalypse Now.
Yes. Yeah, he was young.
He was underage.
That's amazing. Oh my God. He's great.
I mean, he was acting before that too. Cornbread Earl and Me, another movie he was in. He was a kid. Looked the same, like the same person.
He's great.
Little Larry. So Death by Temptation, one, I want to say the one who played the character, played the succubus, vampires, whatever. Yeah. She wasn't a real actor, but I'm gonna tell you, man, her expression, she's a writer or something like that. She's still alive. She's like a writer or something like that. But her expressions, how she can turn it from, she was smiling and she would just turn into that real dead, cold look.
Right.
I mean, she she sold the movie for me. You
Yeah,
know,
and
just
she was
watching
good.
her acting style.
Yeah, she was good.
But you know, well, again, some more social commentary within that movie. That movie was to represent the impact of AIDS.
Sure.
You know, you had a different characters in it. The guy that was cheating on his wife, she gave him
Yeah.
something to take home.
Yeah.
You know, you had the player who was just out there, like the original bartender in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he got it, and then the one guy who was the undercover homosexual,
Yeah.
the one she had sex with. You know, the other way around, I guess, in that situation.
Right.
So, yeah, but the social commentary is about just like, you know, I think she was AIDS, and she gave it
Yeah.
to so many different people who didn't really
She's a metaphor.
were
Yeah.
conscious.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's just what I got out of it, you know,
Yeah.
especially during that time, because during that time when the movie came out, AIDS was prevalent, you know, AIDS, crack, all that. It was a crazy time. And
Yes.
all filmed in Brooklyn. The bar was an existing bar. They filmed
Everything was,
everything in an
yeah, it
existing
was
bar.
done there. That's
Yeah.
right. Which is
So,
cool. I like that.
yeah. So to
Yeah.
me, it was a great movie. It was because it was just instrumental in kind of telling a different kind of story.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So what else? Probably one of your favorites and one of my favorites. People Under the Stairs.
Oh, dude, I watched it recently. I used to love that movie when I was a kid, and I didn't really understand it. I just thought it was cool because it was weird. I mean, it is a bizarre
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is running around in a leather suit and he's shooting holes in the wall, and this kid
I
has
got
no
him.
tongue.
I got him. I got him. I got him. I got him.
Yeah, I got him. 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 So the coolest thing, one of the cool things to me now that I realize about that, because Twin Peaks is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Those two actors, if you saw Twin Peaks, they were husband and wife in Twin Peaks also.
Yeah. That's absolutely.
Yeah.
That's correct.
People don't remember
correct.
that. Now, they think they're brother and sister in this movie, which is part of the story. But I love it because, well, one, it's got the kid from Mighty Ducks, who I love.
Yeah.
What's his Brandon? I can't remember his name now. He's probably my age now. But he's in it. Fool, right? Fool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that his name?
Yeah.
His name is, yeah. And Ving Rhames is in it. Early Ving Rhames.
Yeah. Early Big Names.
I think it's a great story. I love the part. I love the spooky weirdness of this haunted, horrible house where these awful things are happening, and
Yeah.
they're cutting out kids' tongues, and they're hiding people literally under the stairs.
Yeah.
And this one girl doesn't even know like life outside, and he comes in and he fights back. And at the same time, though, it's about this poor black kid whose family is going to get evicted. They have no money.
Yeah.
And his mother is sick, and it's the class system. These white folks keep getting rich because they keep ripping people off, and it has all these different pieces to it, right?
Like the social commentary, man, it's there for sure.
When I was a kid, it was just a spooky kind of weird movie, but now I watch it and I get it more, and it means
Man, I used to
more.
watch. I never watched it in the theater, but I watched it. He used to always come on late at night, and before everybody had full cable, like you had one or two movie channels.
Yeah.
He used to always come on. I used to watch it every time it came on. So.
Oh, and I loved when he says to the girl, he says, "What's wrong? You never seen a brother before?" And she goes, "No, I have a brother." And he goes, "No, I mean like a black guy."
Exactly.
But that girl, that little girl, she probably see, and that's something interesting too, because there's always that moment for a white kid, no matter where you are. When I know this shouldn't be weird. It's not weird, but there is a moment when a white kid meets a black, and it is strange for some reason.
Well, let's keep in mind this
was that moment.
Well,
that was the moment that woman, that little girl. It wasn't in a regular setting because her life is so screwed up, but that was the first time she'd ever met a black person.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? Like, it's strange.
I mean,
but also,
it was unusual.
The kid, right? The kid is also, he's the black kid saving the day, right?
Yeah. Well, I was great leading that. It's like now this is another first. You have a black kid who saved the day.
Black kid who saves the white girl. There you go.
Yeah.
Great movie. Bizarre. Yeah, a little weird, but I think it's very good.
Bizarre.
I like it a lot.
But I mean, I like bizarre films though.
Yeah.
Now, one film that's always controversial. I love it for a lot of reasons. Vampire in Brooklyn.
You know what? I think I've only seen it once, and I think it was a long time ago. Yeah.
Again, it had great cast. Eddie Murphy killed it. And again, it was in the 90s, so there's certain innuendos here and there that
I think I've only seen it. I think I saw it right after maybe it came out. It was very long time.
Yeah.
I should
great
watch
movie.
it.
Angela Bassett.
Yes. She's
Again,
great.
Kadeem Hardison, he was in there
Yep.
as well. Yeah, good movie, man. Good movie. I like it. It's entertaining to me,
Yeah.
because the
No,
comedy horror.
right, exactly. It's like the stupid what's the dumb Jim Carrey horror vampire movie too? Same kind of thing, right? It's
Yeah,
stupid,
yeah, same kind of
like
thing. I mean, you got to take it with a
dumb.
grain of salt, man.
Right, right.
It's one of those things I can watch and work on homework or something like that,
There you go.
and not really.
Background,
Yeah,
movie.
background. Yeah.
Yep.
This is also a time. Oh, let me also mention, like, one thing that you find in certain black horror movies or black characters in horror movies, the relation to voodoo and
Of
New
course.
Orleans.
Yep.
So you had like Eve's Bayou. What's the other
That's
one?
an
Was it
interesting
Angel
one.
Heart? Was it Angel Heart or something with
Oh gosh, yeah, I can't remember something like
Lisa
that.
Bonet, right? Was that Angel Heart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean, New
remember.
Orleans kind of setting, kind of a witchy, scary
Right.
kind of thing for some people.
Stereotypical, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So New
What
Orleans played a
about
big part.
what about I Love Tales from the Hood?
Yes.
I love
Tales from the Hood. I
Hood.
love it
I
because
love that movie.
several movies into one and social commentary through each
Oh
one of
my
them.
God, the story with David Allen Greer is like amazing, right?
Yes. Yes.
David Allen Greer, I mean, God, is he amazing from In Living Color? Of
He's
course.
another thespian actor, though. People don't know. Like he's a great
wonderful.
actor.
He's
Yeah.
wonderful. Was he the one that played MC Hammer in the skit? No, that was Tommy Davidson, I think. That is hilarious. But yeah, when he's playing that awful evil dad that beats up, oh my God, like that has so many pieces to it.
Yes.
And
I
they're
mean,
all
dude,
stories that are classic stories, all spun into, oh man, yeah.
I think if they're relatable stories across
I
different
love
doors, no
that
matter
movie.
who you are, you can relate to it.
Yes.
So
Yep, I love that movie, and I love the whole time. Why am I forgetting his name? Who's the crazy caretaker that is in the middle?
you're talking about
Why do I forget his name? But I love because he keeps saying because the guys came to get the shit. Ah, yes, the shit. What is his name? Why can't I remember the actor's name?
man, my mind is so blown on a Friday
No,
night.
you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Clarence Williams III.
Yes,
Clarence Williams III. Yes,
I love him.
Another incredible actor. May he rest in peace.
Yes, he's gone. Yeah, Tales from the Hood is I love that movie.
He used to be on Mod Squad. He used to be, what's the name of Mod Squad? Old TV show called Mod Squad.
He's in a ton of stuff, yeah.
He is.
Oh, yes, the shit.
He also played your boy in Half Baked.
Yeah.
Samson.
Yeah, he was Samson. Yep.
So,
get Delilah, get to me, 8:14. I have the first time with the Dharma crossbow. We should review that movie.
Dude, that movie's hilarious.
They made a Tales from the Hood too. I haven't seen it though.
Nah, I think I saw part of it. It just didn't have the same. To me, it was more.
I don't need to see it. Yeah,
it was like a quick sale. It's like a typical, like, if it's not associated with the original makers, then it kind of veers off the track real quick.
Yeah, I got nothing to see. Yeah, no, I love Tales from the Hood. I should go back and watch that again. That's a great movie.
Now another one of the great ones has a lot of controversy behind it is Candyman.
Okay, so for those that listened to last episode, which of course you did, we talked about that in the story about how Clive Barker. It's from a story he wrote called The Forbidden. It takes place in England, so a little different storylines, but we tie in the Candyman, and of course we tie in, the poverty. This takes place in that Cabrini Green housing project, which was, we Tara and I reviewed this episode back a couple of years ago. We went deep into the meaning of all this stuff and how, how much, they keep telling you it's a horrible place, but at the same time, this is home to people. And it's a stereotype of it's nothing but black people, and they're all poor.
Yeah.
And, oh, somebody please help them. Their lives are so miserable. Some people are not. They may have a sense of community. They might like living there. And there happens to be this story that it goes on too, and then it's the really deep part about, I've read a lot of articles about, Helen Lyle's character, the woman, and what her character really is and what she really represents, and how, again, the black man saving this white woman. Like, there's a lot of different pieces in this, like, you can take away, right? You could go into, I think,
Yeah.
Well, the movie's freaking, I mean, the music in that movie is so goddamn haunting.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That music that stays with you more than anything. It's beautiful. love that movie. It really is
Dude,
great.
the movie was done well, man. Clive Barker did a great job.
I
But
have
will
not
say
seen the
that,
remake.
okay, see the remake so you can get your take on it because it goes back to Cabrini Green and
Yeah,
it still deals with some classism and things like
yeah.
that. So,
I do want to see it. Yeah.
but one thing that they both stuck with was going back to the original tale of Candyman. That's kind of
Yes.
got intertwined in this. Was
Right.
that
Right.
the bees and the honey?
Yep.
Just it was always around. In those movies. So I'm curious
Yeah.
of how Clive Barker pulled those two stories together to make it a palatable story.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
He's very
yeah.
talented.
But a lot of folks have issue with the movie because it was a black serial killer going after poor black people,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was at that time when it came out. Yeah, that was again you're still dealing with the crack era. You still dealing with high gun violence in a lot
Early
of cities.
90s. Yep.
Yeah. So it was. But I would say, every person I know, every black person I know, enjoyed the movie. It
I think
always
it's
goes
great.
down to legend.
But when you make that, Clive, he realizes what's going to happen. He knows that's
Of
not for
course, of
everybody. He
course.
gets it, and I think
Of
it's
course.
done well. I don't think there's anything inflammatory in it. I don't think there's anything. Everybody has their
Yeah.
take on it, obviously, sure, but
Of course. Of course.
whatever. Can you say that her character Helen Lyle is a damsel in distress and whatever? Does
Well,
she
yeah.
become she becomes part of the folklore in the end, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
it's yeah. I like I
Yeah.
said, it's a very good movie.
I mean,
I like it.
yeah, that's a good panel discussion. How about that?
And
A big panel of people talk about it.
Tony Todd is.
Tony Todd embraced that character.
I have met him at one of the Monster Mania. He that is how he talks. Like that is not a
Yeah.
he has that. And again, stage thespian act. He's an incredible stage actor.
Yeah.
He talks like that, and to
Yeah.
actually meet him and to be standing next to that man and listen
Yeah.
to the Candyman, it is terrifying, dude. It is freaking terrifying.
It is. I can only imagine. I've never met him before.
Oh, and he's like 6'5", but he's like the nicest guy in the world. Yeah.
But even his stare in that movie, without any makeup, his stare.
Oh, he's I mean,
it's
his just
cold.
way the
It's
things he says.
cold there.
The way he talks. It's hypnotized. It's amazing. Yeah, very good movie.
Yeah. So, going into the late '90s and into the 2000s, the one thing that, I liked some of it, I didn't like some of it, was the emergence of hip hop artists
Okay.
appearing in horror movies.
Okay.
So the first one I remember was LL Cool J and H2O.
Ronnie, I love him in H2O.
Yeah.
Love him.
I like LL as an actor. I think he's always one of my favorite artists as well.
Shark. No, he's not Shark. LT. You've seen Any Given Sunday, right?
Yeah.
I love LL Cool J in Any Given Sunday.
Also, what he did in 1999 was Deep Blue Sea.
Yes, he was in Deep Blue
He's the
Sea,
cook.
wasn't he? Yes.
He was the cook. Yes.
I forgot about Deep Blue. Sam Jackson's in Deep Blue Sea too.
Yeah. Sam Jackson and everything.
Yeah, he is in everything. It's true.
Yeah. But you start to see, more rappers in movies, and some of these are horrible, man. Busta Rhymes and Halloween Resurrection.
Okay. I'm going to be very brief on this.
Please.
And I want to be clear on this too. I wrote an article about all the Halloween movies, hilltopvideos.com, if you want to read it. And my review of Resurrection is about 2 sentences long, and you'll see it. Now, let me be clear about this, okay? I'm explaining what I think about him in the movie. Now, Busta Rhymes, the rapper, dude, forget it.
That's a different ball
game. The guy
That's a different
kills
ball game.
I love him. Love him.
And it was a power move him. I mean, to get your face on screen was a start.
I know.
Get your SAG card, make it happen.
I love Busta. I could listen to him all day long. Like when Disaster Strikes is an amazing CD.
Ooh.
But let me tell you, in that movie, when he's doing all the kung fu stuff and he's dressed, I'm sorry, dude, he ruined.
It was horrible, man. It was horrible, man.
That movie, Halloweens are my favorites. I don't own that movie. I'm sorry, Busta Rhymes. If you listen to this, I love you, dude. But I can't. I can't do it with you in that movie.
I'm gonna tell you what I think is the worst of the bunch, though. When DMX was in this movie called The Bleeding.
I think I've
2009.
Heard of this,
it was horrible, man. It went straight to video.
Was DMX in Belly though, which was a good movie?
Belly's a
in
great
that?
movie. He was in Belly. Yeah, he was
in,
one of the
yeah.
lead characters in Belly.
Yeah, that was a good
Great
movie.
movie. The cinematography in the movie is incredible.
And the
coloring,
nightclub stuff is
yeah,
incredible,
yeah.
right?
All the post
Yeah,
production work, yeah.
yeah, that's a good movie.
The camera shots were great.
Yep. Method
But no,
Man's
but
in
that
that
movie,
too,
The
right?
Bleeding, is horrible. Don't rent it. Don't you'll want your time
No,
back.
I think my days of watching awful movies are over at this point. I can't handle them
I think
anymore.
Coolio was probably the next second on this movie called Dracula 3000.
Okay,
Another
so
horrible movie.
Dracula
May he rest in
2000,
peace.
I've seen it. I don't even think. Yeah, I know we lost Coolio. Yeah, recently. That's too
Yeah,
bad. I don't even think I knew there was a Dracula 3000. Shows what I know.
Dracula 3000. It was horrible. It was
So next is
horrible.
Dracula 4000, starring Lil Wayne.
Exactly. What's another one? Ice-T and Leprechaun in the Hood,
No,
which was
no comment. Ice-T in New Jack City, awesome.
something different. You know what
Ice-T
I mean?
in the Ice-T in the car repair commercials. Okay, I like to watch him in those too. Law and Order. Yep.
Yeah, dude.
No.
See, the thing is, what was getting me was that they would put the rappers in because this is when hip hop started really becoming more commercialized, where it was really a viable source of music. You know, good source of music, a good moneymaker across the industry. It was like one of the biggest moneymakers in the music industry altogether at that time. So I think they wanted to just. I think it was a fair exchange, no robbery between the artist and the bad movie. Because at least you got some screen time, you earn your SAG card, you get a paycheck.
Yeah.
But the movies were horrible. So, you know, one that's a disappointment to me though. One of the biggest disappointments to me, Most Def in this movie called Island of the Dead. Now, I think Most Def is one of the most incredible artists.
Heard of the movie?
Yeah. So you would think it's about zombies, right? But it's really about flies, like a bunch of flies killing. I probably watched 15 minutes of it and I was done.
Okay.
And I was disappointed because Most Def is a great actor. You know, outside of being a great artist, he's a great actor. This coming off Italian Job. This is coming off of like all these other movies he's been doing.
You know what, dude? Everyone's got to have a clunker, right?
Yeah, that was the one for him. But the funniest one for me was Redman and Child's Play 5. Because at that point, Child's Play just moved to a whole other genre.
I'm not a fan of those movies in general, really.
Dude, it's well, you don't have a show now. Do a Child's Play show or something?
It's not sci-fi.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, it has a place. It's
they're not
Child's
for me.
Play. Chucky has a special place in people's hearts for some reason.
I mean, I love the Brad Dourif doing the voice and the cursing, profanity laden. I mean, that's hilarious. But it's I can't do it. Let me ask you this. Oh no, go ahead. We can say anything else about this? I had a question. So
go ahead.
I was going to just jump ahead. What do we think about Jordan Peele's movies, right?
Oh yeah. No, Jordan Peele's movies. It's a thinking movie.
Get Out was pretty interesting, yeah.
Some people have to watch them twice.
I think they are. I think they are deserving of twice, if not more. I think so. There's a lot in there. Right?
I mean, there's so many sub stories below. Like there's so many layers beneath it. I think Get Out was absolutely incredible, and
it's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's an intense movie, and it's out of left field. Like you didn't. It's odd, but then you see what the real storyline is, and you start breaking down.
I feel like I knew what I was going to see, but also had to sit there and be prepared to have no idea. Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Maybe I'll get this. Maybe I won't.
Yeah, so. I think Get Out is definitely. I think Jordan Peele did a great job in opening some more doors for horror movies that are more than just gratuitous. And
well, again, like you said, a movie is always about something else, right? So it's not just that subject; it's something else.
And I tell you, man, some comedians that I know have dark minds like that.
Oh yeah,
because they're just constantly thinking, they're constantly looking through things. Us was definitely more about classism, if anything else. Another great movie. You didn't see what was happening. And the other thing that came about it, though, you had a female hero. You had the female heroine come in and kind of pull things together. So
what do you think about Wesley Snipes' Blade?
Blade has a place. Blade definitely has a place. I mean, I'm a big comic book person, so I love Blade. I love the concept of it.
I'm wondering, does that matter if that character is black or white? Does that make it You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
don't think no, I don't think that really makes a difference. I just think
yeah,
Blade was just Blade. You know.
yeah. I don't know that it was groundbreaking. That hey, he's
It's,
black, by the way. You know, I don't know
no,
if that
no,
was like a
no. Actually, I
yeah.
think people were more, especially with the first one. I think people were more amazed by the special effects
Yeah.
from
They've made
Blade.
what 3 or 4 of them now. I haven't said, but that
Yeah,
first one
yeah.
was very cool. I saw
The
it a
first
long
one was
time
cool.
ago.
Well, then
Yeah,
was
he's
Ryan Reynolds in one of them, like number two or something, number three or
yeah. I
number
think he
two?
was in one of them. I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So, nah, I think,
Okay, what about the scary movies? Movies.
yeah,
Those are hilarious. I mean, they're spoofs, but those
yeah,
scary movies, dude. Those
dude,
movies are freaking hilarious. Oh my god,
exactly.
that first one is just. I could not stop laughing, dude.
Dude, it's so up the chain. I think the Wayans lost the franchise to somebody else, or the contract or
They've
something.
made like 4 or 5 of them now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and they lost the franchise for some
but that
reason.
that first one, with I mean, the spoofs are. I saw it in the theater. I could not
Yeah.
stop laughing, dude. Oh my
Now, one
god.
movie, one movie that I loved, again, going back to the black heroine, 28 Days Later.
Oh, Selena.
Yeah, Naomi
Right?
Harris. She came,
Yeah,
yeah,
that is.
Selena.
Yeah,
Dude,
she's badass.
and again, something that's rarely
She's
seen
badass.
in horror movies. You know,
Yeah.
just to see that heroine come out
You see the
and
final
save it.
girl we always talk about, but how often is it the heroine saving the day,
Exactly.
right? Right.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I think 20 Days Later is definitely groundbreaking
That's a good
because of
one.
what.
That's a good
Yeah,
one. That's a good. We reviewed that and we talked. I don't know that we dug that side of it. That's pretty interesting.
yeah. You never
Okay,
see
yeah, I
never see a
like that a
black
lot.
lead, take it like that. And you can't forget about Aaliyah and Queen of the Dam, which was to
Oh
me, I didn't watch it
yeah.
at first,
Yeah.
but I watched it one day and I actually
There you
enjoyed the
go.
movie.
Okay, so let me ask you this: Vampires. Did
Yeah.
you watch an Interview with the Vampires series on AMC that just was on
I didn't
recently?
see it yet. I didn't see it yet. I got it saved to
Okay.
watch.
So you've got Lestat, who's a white man,
Yeah.
and Louis, and oh god, I read the book and I've already forgotten. The little girl that
Yeah.
they're black.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. There's that
It,
too.
it's
I thought it was very good. I watched all the episodes, all 8 of them.
yeah.
I hated the movie with Tom. I thought it was terrible. The Tom Cruise movie was
I think the
terrible.
movie. I think.
The book is good, and this show was really good. Claudia's her name.
Yeah. I think the movie was trying to put too much in a small time frame. You know what I'm saying?
It was lame. They got these big names that just it didn't work. But yeah, having this because one, you've got I know what year we're in. It still doesn't seem to matter because people still act the same. But you have two men who are not necessarily gay, but they're having relations with each other, and
Yeah.
one is
Yeah.
white and one is black.
Yeah.
Like I know we're supposed to be progressive now, but there are still a ton of people that think I don't want to watch that, or why are they putting that on TV? Like,
Yeah.
so that's yeah.
So let me ask you: was the Claudia version, was the Claudia character as scary as Kirsten Dunst the way she did it?
I
'Cause
liked her because Kirsten Dunst was younger. I think this woman is like a teenager or like in her almost 20. I think she's older.
yeah,
But she's good. She's good though.
Kirsten Dunst scared the life out of me, man.
Yeah,
She
and
played that role.
a little
I
girl
don't like
vampire.
dolls.
That's pretty scary, right?
Yeah, but see, the thing is, she's a mixture to me. She's a vampire, but she looks like a doll.
Yes,
I
that
don't
was
like
the point.
dolls, and I like so it's like you put those
Right.
together. That's like my worst
Scary.
nightmare. All you gotta do is put some clown makeup on and make it even worse.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not.
What
a
do
fan
we
of
think
clowns.
about? What do we think about any? Well, I don't know if TV necessarily. I think didn't you had mentioned something earlier? You had talked about what about the video? What about Thriller?
Oh,
Right?
Thriller, dude, that was
So
groundbreaking.
Thriller. I mean, I'm just gonna make it a point right now, just
Yeah.
on the record. Thriller is the greatest music video ever made. Okay, that's
Yeah.
just there's no conversation as far as I'm concerned. John Landis directed it. The choreography is beyond amazing.
Yes,
Michael Jackson is say what you want to say about him. He's incredible in that
incredible.
role. And that sequence when they do the clapping and the feet sliding,
Yeah.
I can literally rewind that on YouTube and watch it over and over and over and over.
Yes.
Again. That's just like
I mean, incredible, man. I think that was definitely groundbreaking as well. Again,
uh,
this is when you started seeing, more black folks involved with horror movies again. You started that kind of opened a few doors. We did like it. We are an audience.
remember when the Fat Boys did a video for one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies?
Oh my gosh! And then same thing with Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince.
Yep. So when I was a kid watching that, it was great because I loved rap, and I was like, rap and a horror movie? Oh my god!
I know.
Here we go. Yeah, a tie-in for Busta Rhymes. So acting, okay, whatever. But remember in his song "Give Me Some More," he samples the theme from Psycho.
Yes, he does.
That's what's playing in the back the whole time.
Yes, he does. Yes,
so there you go. For those of you that didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. Mm-hmm. So speaking of that, man, there was a whole genre of music called horrorcore, which was hip hop that was entrenched.
I remember this, and I don't think I liked it a lot, but I liked the idea of it.
It was. I liked some of it, but it was too. It felt like it was too contrived. It felt like it was too forced.
Right. Trying too hard,
and not necessarily.
What'd you say? Gravediggers was the band, one of them.
Gravediggers, Gravediggers. I mean, a lot of them were great artists. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
the whole genre didn't really.
What they were trying to do just wasn't really working. Yeah, no,
I mean, you had. I guess they would probably consider Insane Clown Posse as part of that as well.
Oh my god, are they still around the ICP?
I'm sure they are. But 3-6 Mafia. Yeah, 3-6 Mafia was.
I like 3-6 Mafia. I do like some 3-6 Mafia.
Yeah, I mean, so. There was definitely a genre, and 3-6 still were around, and rest in peace to Gangsta Boo. She just passed away last week, right?
Oh, really? I did not know.
Yeah, I think she just passed away. They found her dead on her porch or something. God, that's. Yeah, but they had their own genre, and they made a lot of money off of that. So it was definitely a genre that I think it still exists, but not on the same level as anything mainstream at this point. I think it's definitely a select group, because like Tech Nine stayed on tour for years.
Did Onyx do anything like? No, they didn't do any scary stuff.
Onyx they just look scary.
Yeah, maybe they just look scary. I miss Onyx.
But like Kool Keith, not too many people know about Kool Keith. He was part of Ultramagnetic MCs. Also, he was codenamed Dr. Octagon and stuff like that. So he was also another artist who did a lot of some horror, some horror stuff.
I love the references. I just think I think that's cool.
I just think some of it was forced. Some people did it naturally, and some just a genre as a whole. The genre was kind of forced.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah. So,
but that's a list.
But going to the future though, I would say this is a good time for young black filmmakers because the lower production costs. You get some high quality cameras nowadays. You don't have to pay for film. Imagine having to pay for film.
You sure don't.
And you still got to get the film developed.
You go buy I just read a review for a 6K Blackmagic camera for $2,000.
Yep.
You spend a few grand and you got 2 or 3 cameras and you're ready to go shoot.
You're ready to go. I mean, you look at the low cost release opportunities that you have. You can release on YouTube direct. You can use social media to show clips of it.
Yep.
So promotion has got a lot more cheaper. And you can also collaborate with people across the world a lot easier now.
Yes.
Now you can exchange files. You can have a team that's all ready to go to film some shots for you in London somewhere, and then dump that back to you for editing later.
Yep.
I'm happy about that.
Production now is so nice. I mean, I did a shoot recently, and it was a simple. My post production was completely online. I didn't need to see my client once. Yeah, it's great. So.
I mean, I'm curious. Now your ideas don't have to get pillaged because you don't have money.
Yeah.
So because once you start getting money from other people to help you pay for the film, then everybody has their own say in what they want to put in. And now you can independently do as much as you can and control your destiny and control your idea.
Yeah.
And I want to see how these minds dig deep into horror and not just the gore, but the
story,
the side meanings, everything else.
I would love to see someone do something like we talked about in our last episode about something like the Night Doctors or something like that would be really interesting to watch. I mean,
quite honestly, I thought about doing a you and I talk about this all the time. I thought about doing a graphic novel on the Night Doctors at one point because
be fascinating.
There's so many. It's a deeper story beneath the fear of somebody coming through and catching you in the woods or something.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole lot of side stories inside of that can be developed even further. But I would love to see somebody do a film on it, though. I mean, because it's definitely something to deep.
There's a lot of stuff out there, and you need more people like Jordan Peele to maybe do more things and to take that that torch and run with it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And to do more stuff like that. Oh, last thing I'll say is I actually have not seen it, but Snoop was in a movie called Bones.
Yes.
Back in like 2000, I think, or something.
I have not seen it. About Bones.
I don't know about Snoop acting, but whatever.
Yeah.
So
the movie was kind of
Again, Snoop, Doggy Style, one of the great CDs ever made. Okay, ever, ever.
Hands down.
Acting is a whole nother deal. So.
Yeah, he's definitely better now. Same thing with Ice-T. Ice-T was horrible back then. He's gotten better. I'm seeing. I was just watching TV commercial. Ice-T, Cheerios commercial. Him doing yoga or something.
He's a mogul, man. He does it all, dude.
I'm happy
Ice-T
for him,
does
man.
it all.
I mean, but what I love about it is people are actually showing the different sides of what they do. As opposed to being one sided stereotype.
No, it's you got to do it.
Yeah. So. But nah, man, the future's big with movies right now. I definitely want to be able to come back another time. We start looking at some. I would love to do something on some of these independent films. I know what's the company? Blumhouse.
Yeah, Blumhouse.
Blumhouse has a special agreement where they
good stuff.
They do good. You know what they because they just they let the artists do their movie.
Yeah, they do good stuff. They did these 3 new Halloweens. Yeah, they did those.
Yeah, so I mean, so if you go on like Hulu or something like that, you'll see a lot of their productions. It's a good chance to look at some good independent films, things that may not be released in the theaters, but at least you can see it on the streaming platform. Yeah, and check out their work because I think they have it. Did they have a deal with Hulu or something at one point?
I don't know.
Yeah, but I definitely want to see what comes about. I'd love to see have another discussion about some of these independent horror films and see how they turn out. And granted, we just touched the surface of a lot of these movies.
We can go forever. Yeah, there's a lot.
These are my particular ones that struck me.
There's way more out there, but this was. I think this was excellent. I love to touch on this, get into more genres and stuff. We'll try to do more of. And if you all out there have ideas like that, obviously, tell us, let us know. We want to do more of these. Yeah. This was wonderful. This is a great way to kick off the year, I think, for me.
Yes, same for me, man. I love being here.
Good, a great topic for us. We hope you all enjoyed this. Again, more genre stuff if you want, please. Bill, anywhere before we wrap, you want to tell everybody where to find you, where they can look you up, all that good stuff?
You can just find me as actually find me on Instagram. That's where everything pops out from there anyway. The easy way to find me is bass player BV.
Okay.
So if you find that, you find me at bass player BV
on the gram, as they say.
On the gram, and all my links under there. So definitely reach out, but also reach out, on Scary Movie Project because my eyes always there as well. And I hope I can come back. This is always fun. And if everybody knows Matt and me, he and I can talk forever. So I hope we condense this enough.
Yeah, we don't want to talk and wear you out, but we want to get it. So please, you guys know what to do out there. You know to listen, to rate, review, subscribe. Say fire Matt, hire Bill instead, things like that. I don't know, whatever you think is to put on there.
I can never take the blame.
Instagram, Facebook, we're everywhere, man. So look us up. We will have, this is to kick off the year. We're going to have a lot more content for you guys, of course, so please keep listening. Tell your friends. ScaryMovieProject.com. Email us, of course. Tell us what you want to listen to. We love you guys. We want you guys to tell us what you want so we can help you with that and go on and more comments about this. So thank you all again, and we will catch you guys next time. Remember, if it looks good, eat it.
Not everything.
The Scary Movie Project podcast. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.